obviously coming through this weekend, you take second and fourth in those two events you ran in, and just tell me about your performances this weekend and how you saw that happening, and being able to do it at home, and obviously being from Minnesota, you got to probably have a good amount of crowd on your side.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, going in the whole season, the goal is to be 1-2 in that steeplechase for Alec and I, and then we just wanted to get points in the 5K. So fourth was a really good finish for me in the 5K, I think. Yeah, I was able to. So I attended a small school in Minnesota called Carleton before this, and I had a lot of coaches and teammates and stuff from Carleton drive up, and they were there to cheer me on, which felt really nice. Yeah, and just being in Minnesota, I never made the track state meet in Minnesota in high school, so being able to show out in my home state and perform a little bit better than I did in high school really meant a lot to me.
Your whole journey is pretty cool. Looking back on everything, what do you credit your progress? Would you say you're a late bloomer? Are you how do you consider, or how do you kind of rationalize what's happened in your career, starting not making the state meet, going to a Division III school, now coming here, now you're a Big Ten runner-up in the steeple?
I think it's just first I've been really lucky to not have any serious injuries in my career. So, but then just like learning how to be consistent, and each year I've made a big jump from the year prior. So even though I was, not a super talented high school athlete, I've been able to improve every year significantly since then to the point where I'm at now. Yeah.
Obviously this is your first year at the U. You ran cross country, obviously, then moving into the outdoor season. What has been the difference, especially this year, and just looking at your times from your previous school to now, even just this last year, you've made really significant drops. What's been the change here at the U specifically?
I mean, it's been really nice to have guys to run with, I'd say. That's the biggest thing, is just a big group to train with and keep me on my toes and workouts and stuff. And then being able to travel to the best competition available, getting to go out to California and run super fast races, easy way to get a good PR.
Now, obviously you had those guys come back and watch you this weekend from your previous school. What was that like, seeing those guys? And obviously they're cheering you on. They know that you've moved on to, quote unquote, bigger and better things. What was that like to see those guys there and be able to, perform in front of, some of your family and friends?
It just meant so much, especially seeing my coaches from Carleton out there. I wasn't super recruited out of high school, and those are the guys that really gave me a chance and believed in me coming out of high school, and they put their blood, sweat, and tears into how I was performing. And Coach Ricks and Coach Shane down there, if I didn't have their guidance, I don't think I would have been D1 ready when I graduated Carleton, and so I attribute a lot of my success to them. And of course my teammates who have always supported me no matter how I'm competing, and even now that I don't compete for them anymore, they still come and support. Yeah.
As far as now, are you the type of person that do you have a kind of a chip on your shoulder, knowing what you've gone through, and obviously coming from a small school and things like that, or are you more just focused on other stuff? How do you look at that?
I'd say I do have a chip on my shoulder. Coming out of high school, it was the whole didn't make state thing. Now it's kind of like I feel like I need to prove that there are talented runners in D3, because I kind of feel like I'm in a way like showing that D3 is able to beat, like D3 runners are able to beat a lot of D1 guys, essentially. Yeah.
And being a guy from D3, what do you think is like, why is that the reason, or why do you think the perception is the way it is? And obviously it's not just your events. I've seen the 100 meters and other events that do drop some crazy times. We've seen Division III athletes come to the Division I level and eventually win national championships. What's the stigma around it, and why do you think it is how it is in your perspective?
D3 colleges are the ones that a lot of times people have just never heard of, and there are a lot of athletes that they weren't like famous in high school or anything, and they're not getting scholarships or anything like that. So I think the perception is that D3 runners are not as committed, maybe, which I think is the total opposite, because there's a lot of guys who run in Division III just because they love running and they love competing. Whereas I think some people at the D1 level might just do it because they're good at it. And yeah, so yeah.